Okay, good morning. Chris is fixing her bed, all perfect. Oh my goodness.
That's from
Anyway,
the dog. That's from the dog, and you can see it in the picture. So,
oh, you mean he gets on your bed?
yes, and under the pillows.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to comment on that. Everybody has their different. I like pets, but I don't have any,
Well,
it's okay.
it's my husband's dog. If
Yeah,
that
these are
tells
my
you anything.
Oh yeah, okay, blame it on him. That's right. And Linda's got dogs. She didn't used to have
Well,
dogs.
I don't like dogs. I mean,
I know.
That's how I used
this
to
is
be.
my marital challenge right here.
Oh yeah, see, you don't like dogs, but you're living with them now. Okay.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, so girls, I have something exciting. Now, we'll watch two videos. They're both about 10 minutes long. And the subject this morning, it has to do with sensory processing disorder. When the child with autism is really overwhelmed. I want you to imagine for a minute, I don't have migraine headaches, so I don't know what they're like. I've never had one. I've had friends who suffer from those, and the way they describe them, it's horrible, horrible. But if you picture yourself, this is the best way I know how to describe. If you were at a concert, we're talking loud, really loud concert. The Beatles, Rolling Stones, whatever. AC/DC, whatever you're into, Backstreet Boys, if you're at a super loud concert and the lights are usually off, but let's just for our description pretend that the bright lights are on. The entire stadium is lit up, super bright lights. And you're there, you find yourself there in the midst of all that sound and light with a migraine headache.
Oh.
Now again, I don't know migraine headaches. They've never visited me. Thank God. But I'm giving you a tiny glimpse what being inside the head of an autistic child is like. It's a little bit similar to that. Not exactly, but a little bit similar. Now, this gentleman that we're going to listen to first, he's on the autism spectrum. He has Asperger's. His YouTube channel has got so much good content, lots and lots of value, just amazing, a lot of information. And I apologize for the lip ring. Now, I live in California, so we're used to seeing all that, and I'm desensitized to it, but I'm apologizing, trying to ignore it, because what he has to share is really, really valuable. Okay, so let me share my screen and roll the video. His name is Dan, by the way. Here we go. And let me know if the sound is not good or whatever.
In this video, we'll be talking about sensory processing disorder and 5 personal tips I use to overcome those issues. Coming up. Hey, I'm Dan. I have Asperger's syndrome, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia. I make weekly videos on this type of content, so if you want to learn more, consider subscribing. I'll be showing you 5 effective ways to help overcome the issues, and also I'll be saying right at the end of the video a way that you can collate this into like a daily work chat plan to help you in the week ahead. Hey Asperger fans, so good to have you all here. It's super awesome to be back with another video. If you want to let me know if you have a sensory processing disorder, slam it in the comments below. I'd love to know who is like seeking what and what kind of stuff you're going through right now. It'd be awesome to have that conversation. Okay, so before we get started, if you want to get me on all the other social media platforms, I upload daily videos to Facebook, so make sure you check me out on Facebook, and I follow everybody back on Twitter and Instagram, so make sure you do that because I need some new followers and I want to follow some more people, so let's do that. Links are in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about sensory processing disorder. From this moment onwards, I'll just call it SPD because like that's, you know, everybody abbreviates it to SPD. Okay, so SPD is where your brain is taking in the information from the stimuli or the data that it's receiving from the sensory input, but it's trying to collate and store that and then effectively trigger that to a response in your brain, but it's not able to do that efficiently because it has, you know, there's something neurologically different about the way it's set up. And this is how an sensory processing disorder can impact people's lives. This can be like an overstimulation to light, say, so maybe you get like really affected by lights. A lot of people with autism, you'll see them kind of like wearing sunglasses or like hiding their eyes or doing this between their eyes because they're trying to filter out that light because it's so harsh and aggressive, because the sensory part of it isn't able to process that light as it is specifically for a neurotypical person. They're taking that as more of an extreme light, so they may be overly sensitive to different types of lighting and stuff. And parents out there, you may have noticed that your children are more sensitive to certain types of lights, and this is the reason why. It could also be like a texture of your clothing, so you know, you could be oversensitive to certain clothing because of like the creases and stuff in it. I know people with, you know, the socks and seam lines of stuff that can really affect people and impact them, and this is something that is like very, very common with a sensory processing disorder. And also food textures, you know, a lot of people have issues with food textures, and this is one of the ways that we highlight ways of identifying Asperger's syndrome in people. We use sensory processing disorder as one of the main traits to highlight that. If you want to see a video on Asperger's symptoms, I will leave a link in the card above and on the end screen so you can check out 5 autism symptoms that are proven to help you identify autism and Asperger's in somebody. But as well as being like overly sensitive to sight, smell, touch and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people can be undersensitive. You know, if you touch them on the leg or you tap them on the shoulder, they may not find a response to respond to that because they may not even realize you've done that. Or if they're eating like really salty food or spicy food, they may not react to that because they're really undersensitive to it. So they have the reaction for it isn't really there. And one of the main things I'll talk about is that SPD, sensory processing disorder, comes comorbidly with autism spectrum conditions. Now this is like across the board. I'm almost certain that most people I know who have an autism spectrum condition have a sensory processing disorder also. So it comes hand in hand, and there's no separate diagnosis for a sensory processing disorder that's not on the DSMs at the moment, as far as I'm aware. So it is involved with mainly spectrum conditions, autism spectrum conditions to be precise. So lots of people with autism and Asperger's syndrome have issues with SPD. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 hacks and tips that you can use to help with those issues. So I personally suffer with SPD. I mean, up until recently, I had no help or no therapy, and this is the reason I'm doing this video now, because I've learned some stuff about that. And I have issues with like sensitive touch, like I did in a video last week. I was talking about how when somebody touches me lightly, I get really jumpy and it like really irritates me, and I'm really super jumpy about it. But if I get like firm touching, then that's okay. There's other things like light input and sound input. I'm getting really triggered by people's sound and things like that. And this causes all kinds of things. You know, if you're completely motivated by stimuli that are external to the body and you're overly sensitive or underly sensitive to it, then you're not focusing on the task that you've got ahead of you, you're not focusing on the day or what you're doing. It's very difficult to be like consciously aware and focus on the things and the tasks at hand. This is very interesting, especially for people with Asperger's syndrome who may also have ADHD and they're trying their best to focus, but you have all things like sensory stimuli and the input is overwhelming or underwhelming, and it just gets crazy. But one of the most fascinating things that I kind of found through sensory processing disorder that causes me to have bad fine motor skills, like putting keys indoors, it could be holding a pen, it could be holding things and knowing depth perception. So holding a cup and going to put it in the cupboard, I kind of miss the cupboard and I hit the cupboard and the cup with my hand and I don't realize the depth. Now this is caused because something related to proprioception, and we'll get into that in a few minutes when we go through this list of 5 hacks. So with proprioception, we have like receptors in our joints and in our muscles and stuff, and our brains are actively engaging with them to tell us where we are in space, so we know where we're positioned, how far away from an object we are, and how far we need to reach to put something down on a table, because that's, you know, that's how it works. But when you're having issues with sensory processing disorder, those are kind of like, they're forgotten about. Your brain stops engaging with those things and starts kind of engaging with the overstimulation from things like lights or sound or touch, and you become overwhelmed with those things, and everything else falls by the wayside, and it causes issues that you didn't even know were related to SPD. So I've been working with an occupational therapist to come up with some stuff and some hacks to help overcome this, and I'm going to share them with you right now. So we're going to jump in right now. So number one is compression clothing. Now compression clothing is a tight Under Armour type of garment that you can wear. So sport enthusiasts and athletes have these. They're like a really tight clothing that goes underneath your other clothing, your other sports apparatus, and it's a very tight fitting, tight clothing that activates the muscles, because it's tensing, feeling that engagement in the muscles, which we were talking about earlier, that then helps your body realize that you're alert and awake. And what happens is, when it's stimulating these receptors in your arms or your legs, if you have like the trouser version, where it's actually holding the muscles tight to tell your body that your muscles are and you're awake, it helps your body focus, it helps your mind focus on where your body is, and it helps you focus during the day. What I found with this is that if I put on a compression vest and wear that in the morning, the day starts off very, very well. I'm able to do things way more focused and way more alert, and obviously it reduces the issues that I'm having when I'm trying to reach for things or put things in a cupboard and I'm reaching the wrong way, or I'm not reaching the cupboard, or I'm hitting my hands on something. It actually definitely does help with those. Now there are several different ones. You can get compression vests that are weighted, or weighted clothing from specialists like SEN specialists and autism specialists. Those companies do have guidelines with them, so if you're going to get anything weighted, make sure you check the label and follow those recommendations to a T, because there have been some fatalities and issues where people have been given weighted stuff to children and are not making sure that they check and regulate those products. So it's just to watch out for. Personally, I'd highly recommend looking at sports Under Armour if you're going to do this. At the moment, I've only got a sports long sleeve t-shirt Under Armour, but that's not really practical when you're wearing a short sleeve because it looks a bit odd. So I'm actually going to invest in a vest version of it, so it's just under here, but it still engages the muscles and helps activate that response that you need to make yourself really focused and really pull your brain's attention away from that overstimulation to then bring it into practical body use. Okay, so number two is chewable toys. Now I did a video on Chewy Gem, and they sent me a package in the mail for chewable toys. The link for this company is in the description below if you're interested in buying some of this stuff. And it's basically chewable stuff like bracelets or necklaces or small things that you can hold, like pencil cases and that you can actually chew on. And what this does for me is that when I'm getting overstimulated by light or sound or textures and stuff, I kind of get really angry, and this pent-up anger kind of comes out in emotional outbursts and other kind of unusual outbursts that you don't really want, because that's not professional when you're in a working environment, it's not great when you're in a personal environment. So having a chewable toy or a chewable item that you can just really squeeze down on and bite on helps you release that issue, and then it also stimulates your brain to realize that, you know, your mouth is engaging with this thing, and again proprioception kicks in and you have some relief from that. So I highly recommend checking out chewable jewelry for autism. Again, the link is in the description below, so you can check that out. Okay, so number three is muscle work, and this sounds a bit kind of weird, and I'm not telling everyone you have to go out and be a bodybuilder, but when you are having issues, so basically if you're having SPD issues, right, the best thing to do is to wake those muscles up and get those muscles, the proprioception for the joints and the stimuli going straight away in the morning. So what you want to do, and this is what I do, is I use weights to just do a little bit of body weight. Now, if you don't have any weights in the house or you don't go to a gym, then you could always do stuff at home like press-ups and sit-ups, as long as you're having tension against those muscles and you're actually using a quite heavy weight, heavy lifting. It could be anything, it could be like moving heavy books, but as long as you engage your muscles in that heavy lifting, they'll start to respond, and the brain receptors will respond to that, and you will have some succession in overcoming certain things. Again, this helps with focus, and it helps with your awareness and your body awareness and spatial awareness of where you are in space, as in where you are in a room, so that you know how much space you need before things kind of you bump into things, or how far away something is. Now, those things are very, very helpful. I found that doing things like wall push-ups or press-ups on the floor definitely help those muscles, and it helps you engage a bit more, and it really does wake you up a bit more. Oh, just to let you know, guys, I actually have a podcast as well, which is available, called We Are Autism. A link will be for this in the description below. Along that, I actually have a secret podcast which is exclusively only available to Patreon members, where I interview medical healthcare professionals about tips and tricks that they can offer to the autism community, and you can do that by signing up to the Patreon down below. A link is in the description below, or here on the screen, that you can go to and check out Patreon. Okay, so number 4, we're talking about exercising and muscle work to get those receptors going so you can feel more alert and more awake, and it will decrease the issues from sensory overload. One of the main ways to do this is walking. Now, if you're not a fan of lifting weights, or you're not a fan of, or you're not able to do wall push-ups or floor push-ups, then I highly recommend taking about 15 to 20 minutes to go for a walk. If you can and you're able to, go for a walk, because what this does, it gets you outside, it gets your heart rate beating, it gets your lungs moving, and it gets your legs and your whole torso moving, which is really, really good, because all of these will stimulate those receptors in the muscles through proprioception to then help you become more focused, and it will reduce all of those issues and those sensory stimuli that are coming in from the sensory overload or underload. Now, hack number 5 is a really interesting one. I said at the start of the video that some people have issues with like textures, and I used to have this, well, I do have this issue where I have green smoothies. I love having smoothies, but sometimes in the morning, green smoothies and other smoothies, the texture can be quite overwhelming and want to make me gag. So to do this, a lot of people who have SPD will use a electric toothbrush, like a vibrating toothbrush, to stimulate the gums around your mouth and to really massage, just like a small light massage on your mouth, and use this electric toothbrush. And what this does is it wakes your mouth up. It helps that proprioception receptor kick in, so when you then take in food, that overstimulation or understimulation to the texture or the taste isn't as effective as it would have been if you didn't, you know, do the massage or use the toothbrush. This is a super, super good hack, and I highly recommend checking that out. Okay, so now you know all of these things, this is my advice. I would make a sensory diet plan, which is basically a week's plan that you say you do 3 things every single day, like 1 in the morning, 1 at lunchtime, and 1 in the evening. It stimulates this proprioception and help you become less affected by the SPD over or understimulation. Now, this can be a thing in the morning where you say, oh, I'm gonna have a shower and sing in the morning, because this would kind of like do some stimulation. I mean, the water hitting your skin will stimulate you. Then at lunchtime, you'll go for a walk around the block or anywhere, you know, just to get that motivation in. And then in the evening, you could do some, you know, press-ups or some gym work, or you could do like yoga or anything that you feel helps stimulate you to help you focus. So by doing these things, you're kind of topping yourself up during the day, because typically after you do some work for proprioception, that will last about 2 hours in your system. So it's just a keeping that topped up until you go to bed. I'm in the middle of doing it right now. I found it highly effective when I did do it. So I'm gonna do a full week of it, and maybe I'll...
Okay, so before we go to our next video, I want to see if any of you guys have any questions. And something I want to say, like I said before, he is full of lots of good information. I really like his content. In a minute, you'll see a dad. I think you saw another video with Abby, and you'll be able to see that dad demonstrate a little bit of this, like especially when she's learning to brush her teeth and that. But what he described as far as the toothbrush and in the mouth, you're desensitizing that part of the body. He calls it waking it up, but also you're getting the neurological system used to that tactile stimulation in the mouth. And I know when I was contracted, lived in Monterey for a while, and my office was like inside to the side of a sensory room. They took an entire classroom, put mats across the entire floor space. There was no desk or anything in there. It was just a sensory room for kids with autism. And there was one swing like in the middle of the room, some climbing apparatus over to the side. And one of the things too, a plastic box, there was a couple of them, plastic box whereby the student could just push it. It was a little bit heavy, not too heavy, but a little bit heavy. And when someone's having a meltdown in the middle of the classroom, the assistant might bring them over to the sensory room and allow them to have that input, that stimulation to the body, and it was very calming. I know a lot of times in IEP meetings, we make the decision that a weighted vest might be helpful for a student. And the way I like listening to Dan because he describes it from the perspective, he's inside a body with autism. And those of us, you know, professionals, granted, I've worked with autistic kids for years and years and years, but I'm not autistic. So I love hearing, and early on in my career, I began seeking out chatting with people who have autism so that I could learn from them and really know what is it like to be inside your head. And so I love hearing his perspective. And the thing about those vests, like he said, your body can be there calmed down sometimes by having that vest, because it's stimulating. It's like grounding. If you think of the fact that our bodies, our brains, were electrical, there's neuroelectrical firing that goes on. That's how our brains and our bodies, the nervous system works. But if you think of grounding something, you know, so that's kind of what this is similar to when you put a weighted vest on a child. And I like his comment to be very careful, be sure look at the label. How big is my child? How much do they weigh? And the amount of weight in that vest it's really critical that you pay attention to that detail and get the appropriate size and weight for them. So any questions before we watch the second video? I don't want to do all the talking, you know. No questions? Okay, I'm going to begin this next video. Let me switch over to this other one. And again, this is Abby. I know you saw a video with her and her dad. And I'll put these links under the video when I post them, when I upload them to YouTube. But his channel is called Fathering Autism, this guy. And he's very good. Okay, so I share my screen again, and here's Abby. Make it bigger for you gals. Okay.
1 minute.
Hang on. Are you ready?
Yeah. We'll see when better hears.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice job, Ab.
Good job, Ab.
Thanks for handing them to me.
So we have had a conversation. We're solving all the world's problems because Brandy's here. We're talking about this past weekend when we went to Playlist Live and all the sensory issues that Abby had, the behavioral issues that Abby had, all those things. We were just trying out these headphones. These not sponsored or anything, but Pro for Show sent us some earmuffs to try out, and we got an extra pair to give away for free for you guys. So check them out down in the video description. I'll leave a link for them, our Amazon link down there. And you can also enter to win. All you have to do is comment down below. That's it. You know, let the people win that can use them, though. If you have autism yourself or a child with autism or somebody you know could benefit from a nice set of earmuffs. 34 decibel, which is good from what I understand. I don't know much about earmuffs because Abby doesn't wear them. We've been trying to get her acclimated to them because I think they would help her by drowning out those you know, louder noises like we saw this weekend. She just has to get used to wearing them. She's never been able to wear anything on her head or face. No hats, no earmuffs, no sunglasses, none of that stuff. It would really, I think, make her world a little bit more comfortable. We can get her used to it. But one thing I have found though is they are pretty snug fits. So if your child is like Abby's head size or bigger, a good thing to do is take them and put them on the box they came in and leave them like that for a little while, maybe overnight, maybe, you know, a couple of days, and just let them stretch out a bit because they are pretty snug. But they do fit nicely because they are nice and snug. See, those stairs are no problem.
I said she's super comfortable. She even does like a little skip thing with it.
We were talking a lot about Abigail using the stairs and using the elevator, and a lot of this stuff has progressed too. Like we've been to, with the Service for Autism, we've been to like a dozen or more hotels every single year, and she's never had any issues with the elevator. She's always been a little bit, you know, had a little bit of an issue with the elevator, just a little bit unsure because it is moving. but then the glass elevator really messed her up, and then all the elevators. But I think it's a progression of a sensory issue, because there have been things like the ceilings, with her staring at the ceilings, not being able to find her footing. Just you go in a department store and she has problems with that. Has gotten worse as she's gotten older too. So I think she's just changing. People change. That's a natural, normal thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to desensitize her to some of these things that she's really struggling with. So that's one of our goals in the near future. Do some outings, find some stairs that she's not familiar with, like she is with the ones here. She has no problem as far as gross motor skills going up and down stairs. It's a sensory thing.
I think we might consider trying to do here in preparation for helping her in public stairs, is maybe teach her on these things that she's comfortable with to hold our hands and show that this is another technique you can use
That we
going
can
down the
provide
stairs.
support.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that if you can't reach both walls,
Right.
we can be your other support.
Right, because like we were talking about in the video of Isaiah and Abby going up and down the stairs, he wasn't holding her hand or anything like that because she was pushing him away.
Right.
So she doesn't
Because
understand
she's
that we
not-
can provide
yeah.
that security and
Because we've
support.
never done that here, because she can
Right.
reach both walls. and
Exactly.
She steadies herself.
So I guess then the next question that people are going to want to know is why? Why desensitize her to elevators, stuff like that? And for my answer would be because it's accessibility to
Yeah.
access
if
things,
it's
to
gonna,
be able to go places
Yes.
and do things.
if she can't be on the 10th floor at a hotel because she can't come back down without taking the stairs one step
Right.
at a time with both feet, that's not necessarily a poor quality of life, but it's an unnecessary thing. If we can help her work through it, not that it's a forced thing, but just kind of easing the anxiety or whatever it is that she's experiencing about it. That is so awesome. I love how you do that. Nice scrubbing them.
Oh,
I didn't have my hand in the right spot, did I? I thought I was.
darn it.
Sorry about
That
that.
hurts, huh?
Where did you go? On it today. Super cool, Abby.
Are you frustrated? That's a good way to deal with it. I'm glad you're using your Chewy. Can you make me look good? Come here. Brandy's gonna see how we brush teeth. You gotta make me look good, okay? Open the door.
Not scoring bad today.
Okay, not scoring, but open the door. Because the world wants to know how awesome you're doing with teeth brushing. And it's a smaller sink, it makes it challenging, but cap came off. Look in the mirror so you can see. Eat. Now. Eat. Here. Go this way. Look, I want you to look in the mirror. Come over here. Yeah, she's going straight for the gag.
So what I was trying to
Some days are better than others,
Yeah.
but a lot of days she goes straight. Now, as far as letting me brush, she does pretty good with that. She is. It is
she's
really.
super gaggy today.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, we're not gonna gag. No. So what I'll do is I'll spend time. What I do is I'll
Yeah.
spend time at the front of her mouth,
Yeah.
just so that she can.
Change
So
that up,
yeah, I'll start there. So Abigail has a history of gagging behaviors. She will do it on her own, stick her hand down her throat, and she'll get to the point where she's actually vomiting. It's a self-stimulatory behavior. We went and had all the medical things checked out for it, make sure none of that was going on, and it's just I know it sounds crazy, but she likes the feeling, the sensation of it.
Well, you guys have
Brandy, she normally cries when you're coming.
I was gonna point it out. but
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was
she's-
really
she's
loud,
crying when
and
you're
she was
leaving.
crying that
That's-
I was leaving.
that's special.
It warmed my heart. I'm gonna go sit in the car and cry about that for a minute. So touching.
Okay. Let me close this. Now, I don't know if you gals took notes or if you have any questions, any comments. I know you guys experience some of these things on a daily basis. And I love how Abby's dad is good at demonstrating how to desensitize, how to, warm them up to like the brushing of teeth, or her vacuuming the floor, I think is amazing. Majority of kids with autism, that much sound, they wouldn't appreciate. So again, what you saw where she's there vacuuming the floor, I am pretty confident that that took several steps of getting her accustomed to the sound, the vibration, and even being near or in the same room with the vacuum cleaner. That took some work. This dad he worked with her so much. So anyway, like we said before, the sensory, and let me make one comment here. While we were watching the first video, I was making myself a mental note to say this. There's a difference between sensory processing disorder and central processing disorder. And the reason I'm explaining this to you is because Dan in his video commented there's no diagnosis per se for sensory processing disorder. But in our profession, and with central processing disorder, there is. And the difference is what you saw today in these videos, it all has to do with sensory. Vision, hearing, touch, taste, proprioception, all the different senses that our body takes in information from the world around us. Whereas when we talk about central processing disorder, that is activity in the brain whereby all of the information that we're processing in our mind, that's that system. So it's not just the sensory, it's the thoughts. When you're getting ready to make a sentence, when you're listening to music or a person talking to you or watching TV or the videos we just saw, any of the information that's coming into your brain, you're processing it. And again, that's not just the sensory aspect, that's everything. Thoughts, feelings, the whole 9 yards. That is central processing disorder. And that's a common thing that we see in autism. Now, I also will say this is for you moms to be aware of. Sometimes there's a misdiagnosis. As Dan said, 99% of the time, a child with autism is going to have sensory processing issues. However, sometimes a doctor will misdiagnose. Let me say this way: a child can have sensory processing disorder and not be autistic. And there's where I wrote a paper on this one time, and it's a very difficult diagnosis to delineate those two things. Sometimes a doctor will accidentally diagnose a child with autism when they're not. They simply have the one aspect, the one component of autism, which is sensory processing disorder. I hope that makes sense. If I didn't explain it in a good fashion and it's not clear in your mind, let me know, because I want you to really understand the difference between those things. And as a mom, you need to know that, so that it comes to talking to doctors or being in those IEP meetings and so forth. Decisions are made. Sometimes big decisions are made based upon those differences right there. So any questions, any comments? I don't want to do all the talking. I can, I love to, but Tamisha.
So I found for Justin Hope, he has a sensory toolbox. My mom ordered him that we have at home, and it got like the chewables that have different things with beads in it with textures, which is helping. And also in his backpack that he takes with him to school has been helping. Just when he has his meltdowns or is overstimulated. So, and then some of the things Dan mentioned, far as I wrote some notes here. Some of the tips he used with the sensory exercises, it seemed like it sounds similar, like the walking, to get the heart moving and so forth. So when you create a sensory diet plan for the week, it's implementing the same exercises, correct? To just get his body and muscles moving.
Yes, and you know what? It'll look a little bit different for every child. One way you can look at it is you want to pick their favorites. You want to pick the things that they enjoy. Not only the way Dan described getting the muscles, the proprioception aspect of their bodies in gear, like waking it up or desensitizing it, whichever is needed. But also it can be a distraction. Let's say, for example, your child is crazy about Disney, anything Disney, and they're just flipping out and focusing on that, or they're stimming in a way that's harmful to themselves or what have you. They've just gotten Disney on the brain and they're stuck. They can't get their mind off it. In that case, what we're talking about in terms of the sensory exercises, it can be a distraction. Get their mind on something else, get their body moving so that the activity distracts their mind and gets them out of that loop where they're stuck on that Disney concept and won't leave it alone, right? So you're right. And again, it's trial and error. You moms are kind of like scientists in a way, because you try one thing and you see what is more preferred by your son or daughter. You choose the things that they like the best, and they look forward to it. Like Dan said, those are a comfort. It's a calming. For neurotypical people like myself, if you put me on a swing and spin me around, that's not going to be a calming effect, right? But with autism, a lot of times that's exactly what will soothe them and calm them down. By the way, I'm in the process. I'm almost finished writing my book, and I will turn it into a master class for you moms. And I think this is the first time I'm talking about it on our Saturday morning Zooms. But for everybody who's already in the program, you won't be charged for that master class. You won't have to pay for it. But what I'm doing is I'm basically taking the original video and PDF file that I gave you when you entered the program, and I'm expounding on it. I'm taking feedback that moms have given me. Like, let's say with the sensory neuro exercises, a few moms have said it would be so good if there was a video so I know I'm doing it right. That's exactly one of the many, many, many things that I'm putting. My two grandsons are going to help me with making the videos. So you'll get to see in the video exactly how to do that. And let me explain to you the difference between sensory activities or sensory motor activities, sensory motor exercises. You hear those words a lot. Sensory neuro exercises are different. So all the things you saw this morning in the videos, it has to be with, sensory activities, or like what Tamisha's talking about, the weighted vest, the swinging, pushing something heavy, push-ups against the wall, etc. The little fidget toys. All these things are sensory activities or sensory motor activities. You might hear it put that way. Sensory neuro exercises, however, which is Malillo method I was trained under, and what we have in my program, that is specifically exercises that will stimulate the right hemisphere of the brain. with the autistic child, there's an imbalance between the two hemispheres. The left hemisphere developed much quicker. There's crowding in there. There's and that's the primarily the side where language and communication occurs. But the right side is, for lack of a better word, just like a delay in its development. So all of, from start to finish, all of the sensory neuro exercises that I have in my program is to wake up that right brain, the right hemisphere, to stimulate it and help it to be in balance and in sync with the other side of the brain. I'm also going to delineate between those exercises, the ones that are passive versus the ones that require more cooperation from your son or daughter. So, excuse me, I've had a few moms say to me, you know, this was easy, but this one, oh my gosh, he wasn't having it. And so I'm going to tell you in my videos and in the masterclass, these are the ones that are more passive. Like when you're in the car riding somewhere, always put him on the right side of the vehicle, so that as you're going along, his eyes are following objects to the right. His eyes are moving from left to right. And that is a very small, easy peasy way to wake up that right hemisphere. And so, like I said, the ones that you don't have to follow the program like, I've got to do all of them. I think it was last week a mom said, I promise I'll do all you. And I stopped her. I said, no, don't pressure yourself. You want to make this fun. You don't have to do all of them. Do the ones that your son or daughter likes. Do the ones that are, if you just forever, from now till forever, only do the passive ones, that's okay. You're still stimulating and waking up that right hemisphere. Another example is like the music. There's a playlist on my YouTube channel, and that playlist is exactly the music that wakes up that right hemisphere. That requires no involvement or participation at all from your child. So any other questions? As I said, I could talk forever about this stuff because I love it. But I want you guys to be able to talk. Share some examples of what you experience from day to day. It'll benefit the other moms to hear from you. And we have a person, I don't know who this is, D-R-A-C-E, Drace. I
It's me.
know, but tell us your name.
Brandy. Brandy Grace.
Okay. I'm so glad you're here. And Sarah's here too. Thanks, ladies, for joining this. So what did you think of the videos so far, Brandy?
I got on a little bit late because the computer was acting up a bit, so I didn't get to see the videos.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? From last week, I began recording these, so they'll be on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
I'm also thinking about opening a Vimeo. I don't know if everybody says it that way. Vimeo, having an account there too, so all the videos will be on there as well. I'm thinking about it. So anyway, do you have any questions for us or comments, whatever you would like to share?
Well, my son is about to start kindergarten, and there's lots of things that we are going to be learning.
Yes.
Since kindergarten is like a whole day thing, we're trying to get him used to it being active as much as we can all day. But he's not potty trained yet. So you guys have like any tips to try and help with the potty training issue?
Well, let me ask you, and I'm not an expert about potty training. I'll be very honest. I'm a communication guru, but let me ask this question, and some of these moms can chime in and give you their input as well. The question, I'm guessing your son is nonverbal, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have AAC technology in place of any kind?
We have some of the little communication cards. Otherwise, usually he will take us to things he wants if he can't grab it himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Yeah, and that's typical. So it's good if you get started with an AAC device so that the communication can be better. You know, the two that there are two that I recommend. I mean, I've used hundreds of these, and some of them are very, very expensive. But the two that I recommend, and for my program and in my videos, it'll be step by step by step, showing you moms how to set it up, how to use it, and so forth, how to interact with it. So one is the C board. It's just the letter C. And in fact, the icon, when you go online, or if you're an Android phone person, if you go in your Play Store, the icon for it is this is for sign language, this is the letter C, like A, B, C, D, and so forth. So it's a purple background and then a hand that's outlined sort of in white, and the hand is like this. So Seaboard, that app is free. The one I really, really recommend is called Avaz, AVAZ. It's the best. It's the best of it, and it's only $10 a month. There's a trial. I forget how long the 2 weeks or I think it's 2 week trial that's free, but $10 a month. And the reason I have both is, you know, some are single moms that $10 a month, it means not putting some groceries, you know, they need that $10 for groceries, whatever. I never, 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 never want money to be an issue for a mom or dad to be able to participate and take advantage of all this information and help. So, but if you just download onto your phone, iPad, tablet, whatever you have, no other games on that device. It's a cardinal rule, super, super, super important, because if you do, the games will compete with the AAC. And the AAC cannot compete with games because games are fun, they're fast, they're visual. Autistic kids are highly visual. And the AAC is work. It's learning to talk. It's learning to communicate. The goal is that eventually the son or daughter will get to leave the AAC device behind. They become more verbal and not needed anymore at all. My theory is, and I believe this very strongly, the AAC device organizes language visually for the autistic child. And so it helps them learn language and be able to communicate. And I've seen it time and time and time again over the years. So that's probably, that factor alone is probably the biggest one that inspired me to put this program together, because so many people are not aware and don't know the progress and the results that can come from the AAC device being in place. So there's that. Any of you other moms want to give Brandy advice as far as potty training? Because that's the, you know, and I will say, when it comes to potty training, this is my logic, right? The same as any other task. You know, potty training is a huge one, but a really key element is to have communication in place, and for your child and you to be able to exchange your thoughts and give him instructions, and him tell you when he needs to go, you know, the urge. I mean, that's the learning curve is huge with potty training. And a lot of parents I know with autistic kids have that's a big mountain to climb. So any of you other ladies want to give her some input as far as the specific task of potty training?
Hope, I just want to say that my Caleb isn't potty trained either, and he'll be going into kindergarten this year as well. We've been working, you know, trying to work with him on getting him potty trained, you know, so he's ready for that long day ahead. With his device that we have, we're teaching him what, you know, what the potty button is. We have songs that he likes from like Cocomelon or super simple songs, using the potty songs. He's been using those to kind of tell us that he has to go to the bathroom. So it's really it's really more modeling for him visually, showing him exactly like what he'll be doing in the bathroom. Like you do it and then he does it. Like just how you get him in the bathtub. You show him how to get in, you show him how to wash. It's a step by step, but you have to show him for him to show you.
Mhm.
It's a long process, but I mean, Caleb is really music oriented.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's a lot of shadowing. The shadowing thing seems to work.
Mhm. Yeah, see one, try one, do one. Yeah. And if you noticed in that video, the occupational therapist, when she was helping Abby wash her hands, there was no verbal instruction at all. She just put her hands out and began like this. I don't recommend having no verbal instruction. That's not good. You just don't want long, long, long sentences. I'll give you an example. Here, Gabby, let's get ready. Turn on the water and let's wash your hands now. That's overwhelming. Wash hands or get their attention. Abby, wash hands. That's appropriate. And the other thing, if you notice too, the dad, he tends to say long, long, long sentences. I'm just telling you what I know works with kids that have autism, and like you're saying, Sarah, they're so visual. Watching you do it, and repeatedly. That's what is helpful. Brandy, did you want to say something?
Well, my son, he does watch the videos. There are definitely favorites. I've heard them so many times, I could probably recite them in my
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
So we have integrated the videos. I've shown him what I can. I try to keep the instructions easy. He just seems to have, he doesn't quite have the timing down on, okay, we need to get to the potty.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if there was any things that other parents have tried that worked for theirs that I can be like, okay, maybe something like this.
Well, one thing I will say is whatever task or behavior that you want your son to do is rewarding. And I know this is, a lot of you moms know this already, but it's worth repeating. If you want him to get to the bathroom, set up a pattern where he knows when he gets there, there's a reward. Let's say it's his favorite song on the device, or his favorite, whatever, his favorite fidget toy he gets to hold. Whatever it is, the minute he gets to now at first, you can reward him when he starts heading toward the bathroom. In other words, in the beginning, once you see the cooperation, he's headed toward the bathroom, he's going down the hall, reward him then, whatever it is, and then delay that reward gradually to where when he gets to the bathroom, then he gets that reward, and after a few times of that, he knows, oh, mom's trying to get me to the bathroom. And I remember yesterday and day before, I'm just telling you the thought process. Yesterday and day before, when I went to the bathroom, once I got there, she gave me XYZ. And so that's one thing. And Rajni, good morning. Good morning. I'm glad you're here. What would you like to share?
Hi, I would like to share that I'm toileting my daughter, so I hope I can input a few ideas over there. So you know how we started, moms. We started with the PEC exchange, and initially it was we were giving her a lot of liquids. First, I started like when I will take her to the bathroom, I'll say pee pee, and I'll make her sit on the potty seat. So she didn't like it. So she will sit for 1 second, 1 or 2 seconds. I'll give her a reward. I'll give her chocolate. I'll give her something she likes. And then after that, she will go. And then gradually I was increasing her time to sit on the potty. So like that, I made her sit for 5 minutes, and then I was giving her rewards. Slowly, slowly, it happened that way. And then I started toileting with her. So I gave her a lot of liquids, and then it was like 10 minutes she would sit in potty and 5 minutes off. And we were exchanging pecks for that, toilet pecks. And then, slowly, slowly. So this is second week of her toileting. And in between twice, she has walked in the toilet by herself, and which was actually rewarding, but still she doesn't do it. It was just twice only she did it. And still she will be outside, and we will see the precursor behavior. Oh, she's about to do pee pee. We will walk her towards potty, so that she knows, okay, if I want to do pee pee, I have to walk towards the pee pee. So that's what we are doing. Even in accident situation, we are just running with her and making her sit in the body, because we want really to have that conversion. With the conversion, I mean, if she's peeing outside, I will rush her in the bathroom so that she does a little bit in the potty. So she realizes, oh, okay, I have to pee in the bathroom, not outside. Yeah, so this is how we are doing. And if she's having a successful attempt in the potty, we are giving her 2 choco chips. And if she is having accidents, we are giving her 1 conversions. That means a little bit outside and some inside. So we are giving her 1 choco chips. But luckily now, I think she's getting a little bit. So now she is doing mostly inside the potty. Now, whenever we are making her sit on the potty, she's trying to pee, and she is exchanging pegs for that. But yes, it was really intensive, like running. I was like very tired, running throughout the day, making her sit on the potty. But yeah, I feel she's getting there.
You guys, I appreciate you sharing that, Rajni. That is so valuable, and it shows the patience that's required. I've said this in IEP meetings. I've said it many times over, and I'll continue saying it as long as I'm on the earth. Working with moms who have kids with autism, it has completely redefined for me the word parenthood or motherhood. It's a whole different thing. And again, I think before you got onto the call, Rajni, I don't know if you're aware, I was sharing how the original videos that I put together in the PDF, I'm turning the entire thing into a masterclass where, and I think you were one of the moms that said the sensory neural exercises, if I could have a video and see that I'm really doing it right. Well, that's part of what inspired me to do that. So every mom who's already in the program, like you are now, you won't have to pay for that masterclass. And my target date is to have everything all done and it to be up and running and good to go by September 1st. That's my deadline I've placed for myself, crossing fingers and toes that I'll make that deadline. But so what it will be, it's modules, just step by step by step. The food, how to feed the brain, and the AAC device, how to use it, how to set it up. I mean, everything step by step in the videos, and then the third element, of course, is the sensory neural exercises that stimulate that right hemisphere and get it to gradually be in sync with the left. And so your feedback is so valuable. And, over the next few weeks too, if any of you think of something that you think would be helpful to be explained, especially you, Rajni, you're one of the first moms that came into the program when I first began down this journey. And so I'm open to input and feedback as long as I'm putting it together. And by the way, my book will be coming out. That book will come along with the masterclass. It'll be a freebie with the masterclass itself. and the title is Autism, How to Help My Nonverbal Child Talk. And any other comments or questions or anything before we go?
Yeah, I have something to say, Hope. I don't know. I just heard you saying about the video. I joined late because I have to rush to someplace. So yeah, the hand washing video. I just want to say, you said like, yeah, we should not say more, and yeah, I definitely agree with you. We should not say more because, we actually, for the activities which are, we want our kids to be independent, like hand washing. We don't want to be there always, right? Prompting them, oh, this is soap, this is this, open the tap. So we should not keep talking to them. We should just give instruction once. Okay, let's wash hand, and then we should be there behind, prompting or helping without any vocal prompt. This is like,
Yes.
I have also learned a little bit hard way. Earlier, I was also like, yeah, put the strap on, open your shoes, like that. But now I have learned like we have to be behind and we have to just give the one instruction, because we want, like, we are sitting in the living room and we can just give this instruction. Okay, go wash hand, and they should go and wash hand. So
Yes,
yeah.
and if you saw when the hand over hand, the dad helping her brush her teeth, and his hand was right on top of hers. That is so perfect when they're learning a new task, a new skill, whatever, is hand over hand. And exactly how you said, Rajni, the reward and also the prompting, the instruction and so forth, you gradually, I call it fading, faded stimulus. You only do as much as the child needs, and then you gradually decrease so that they become more independent with the task. And so let me make I know Chris wants to say something, but let me make a comment and mention this real quick too, especially for Brandy, who's new on here. When you enter the program, you do that by purchasing the brain food or the Juice Plus, and then you get the freebies that come along with it, which in this case, it's the video, the PDF files, and the whole 9 yards. Now, hopefully the date is September 1st, but when I get the masterclass finished and good to go, again, if you're already in the program, you're not going to have to pay for the masterclass. But the way it will happen at that point is that people will purchase the Juice Plus and the masterclass, and all the videos and the modules and the book that I'm writing will come along with it. And so then I'm just describing to you what the program will look like. And of course, we'll always have our Saturday morning Zooms. So Chris, what do you have on your mind, girlfriend?
Okay, well, I thought the videos were great, Hope. And I want to say to the moms, good for you. Good for you for trying to be the best mom you can be, to learn these skills. This is so important. I'm a grandma, my kids are grown, and so I look at it from a little different perspective, but what you're doing is really, really valuable. It's changing you, it's changing your children. You're going to be able to encourage other moms. And so thank you, Hope. I thought both videos were exceptional, that we're taking this time every Saturday morning to learn more little things we can apply. This is going to make a difference. And the other thing, where the first one was on the sensory processing, I thought he gave great ideas. But for you your children are eating Juice Plus, the research out shows that it helps with speed of processing, focusing, and memory. What great things for us and for our children. Just by taking the fruit, veggie, and berries capsules, that's what the research was on. And your children taking the free gummies, you're doing good to their bodies and you're doing good to their brains. So the combination of feeding their brain what it needs so it can be the best it can be, and the combination of all Hope is teaching us, combination of the encouragement on Saturday morning and the learning, this is going to add up for huge results. Just one step at a time, going down this this path is going to make such a difference. And I believe you will look back and this will be a turning point in your life when you connected with hope and you began down this road. So I just want to congratulate you moms for making the effort and for all the effort you're putting into your children. You really are exceptional. You are the top 1% because of your hearts and your desire and your effort that you're putting forth. So congratulations on being that.
You know what, Chris? I appreciate you saying all that so much. And the moms, the feedback that they've given me so far when they put their son or daughter on the Juice Plus, the first word almost every mom has used when they have conversation with me is they're calmer.
Yes.
My son is calmer. He could now think for a minute of all, as you heard Dan describe, what is it like to live inside an autistic body, right? When the mom can say to me on day 4 or 5 or whatever of their child being on Juice Plus, my son is calmer. One mom described it this way: the average per week was several meltdowns per day. That's the way she described. She says now, this was like the first week, the average is 1 a day. Now, what does that say to us? If a child is calmer, they're able to attend to communication with you better. They're able to learn more easily. Their mind is more focused. A lot of moms, when they're taking, they say more energy and focus. That's what mom for themselves. That's the way, I mean, I'm just using words that almost every mom uses, right? And so if the mom tells me for her body, living inside her body, what she knows is she has more energy, she's more focused, she can think more clearly. It's the same way with our child, right? And when we're talking about autism, where the overstimulus, the crazy mix up that's going on in the brain, if you're calmer, you're more focused, and we're waking up that right hemisphere with those sensory neural exercises, it all works together beautifully. And I'm telling you, I wish I should probably start collecting some data. I might even ask Dr. Malillo if he would do a research study alongside me, because the results are just amazing. They're crazy amazing. That's my new favorite phrase.
He can actually submit it to Juice Plus, and they have a whole science institute, a whole department in which people bring them research projects that they would like to do. That's how they did one on children, on boys, what happens when they eat Juice Plus. In Jacksonville, Florida, at one of the centers. So that's an opportunity. But I want to say that, you know, I'm going to be 70 next month, and some young guy, 30 or 40, to me, that's young, said to me yesterday, I love your energy. So it's true. When we put in our bodies what our body needs, our body can function right. And the way you described a child with autism, what's going on in their brain, you know, they need all the help they can get. And if something as simple as fruits and veggies can make a huge difference, let's do it.
Yes. And I think Sarah wanted to say something too. What's on your mind, sweet girl? I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I did. And hope it's not me. It's actually Patrick who wants to ask you a question. He's on it, listening in earbuds with me. Hold on.
Okay. Good morning. Yes. Hi, Patrick.
My son, a little bit more involved. He talks, but it's
now you're breaking up. I don't know what it is. The internet connection you have or something. You guys.
Hold on.
Yeah, try again. I mean, we want to hear you.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay,
right,
now that's better. That's better. Thanks.
All right. My son talks to me like so I tell him, Caleb, let's do this. No, yes, I hate you and stuff. But to his mom, he don't talk worth nothing. How can she get the same reaction I get?
Oh, that's a good question. So you're saying, let me make sure I understand you. Caleb talks to you verbally and not to mom.
Yes, and what we think it is, because I keep telling him since day one, since he's been a baby, I said, "You gotta be a big boy for daddy. Let's go. You gotta talk. You gotta talk." And mom says, "Oh, you're my baby boy. You'll always be my baby boy." And but I told her she needs to stop that because he thinks, "Oh, I'm gonna be mommy's baby boy. I don't have to talk."
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna say this in simple terms, okay? What you just said makes a lot of sense, right? Your expectation of him is for him to be verbal, and that's important. That's good. But let's do it this way. Let's say, Sarah, you begin to imitate what Patrick is doing. In other words, because Caleb is talking for him, he's doing something right. It's working, right? And the other part, just like we talked about with potty training, the reward system. Reward him for every bit of effort. Anytime he's verbal with you, reward him with his favorite whatever. Now, we're going to talk about nutrition.
I give him high fives. I tickle him. I do stuff like that. He's been doing that since he knew, since he's been 2. We had his speech therapist since he's been 2, was looking at it. Mom walked out of the room. He started talking to me and her. She walked in. He stopped.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, see, and I love the high five and so forth. I wanted to mention, if you could mute yourself, you guys, so we can hear. The thing is, the reward system. Let me just mention, it's worth saying it.
Give me the phone.
Sarah, if you could mute. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, friend. Now, the reward system. I love that you give high fives and these things. And sometimes it might be their favorite song, their favorite game, whatever. Not sugar. We're going to talk about nutrition, but sugar and gluten are 2 things that are not good for the autistic brain. We'll get into that. We'll have some weeks where we cover nutrition. And in the master class in my book, and that I go into that a lot as well. But I love the fact that you reward him in other ways. So back to your other question now. If Sarah, if you will reward him every time he's verbal, do the things like Patrick does, you know, I'm gonna relate this to a toddler, a neurotypical toddler, and I'm doing this because those are the kind of kids I raised. I'm being very honest, and as a speech language pathologist, I know how to reward communication with all kinds of, with autistic kids and stuttering, and I mean selective mutism, which is an emotional. It's very serious. So I'm going to just explain to you the best way I know how. So let's say if a child drags you to what they want and points to it, you can not reward that so much anymore. That's what they've been doing. But when they drag you and you don't give them what they want. Now, this sounds mean, but it's not like you're holding out for hours or, that I'm not saying that. But the old way that used to work, as in dragging mommy by the hand, screaming, pointing, whatever it is. Now, like Patrick kind of described, now you don't give it until he at least makes an attempt to be verbal, or uses his AAC device, or even just a syllable, anything out of his mouth, even a grunt, anything verbally, you reward immediately and give him that item. And then, like Rajni described for us, you gradually expect more. You gradually, don't give it until they go to the next step. And let's say, just take the word food. Let's say Caleb is hungry and he wants food. You know, in the beginning, like I said, it might be just the first sound, or it might be a grunt. It might be, it could be any noise out of his mouth, and reward him. Then use the AAC device, use your own voice, and model for him the word food or lunch or whatever word that you're using. And it might be the word hungry. And hand over hand, you take his hand and push the button on the device that says hungry or food, whatever your word is. And immediately you give that reward. You give that item what he's wanting. So like the dad did with the toothbrushing, it's the same with the AAC device. You do hand over hand, and you can help form his hand so that the index finger is isolated. They might need help with that, but your hand is on top of his, you know, like this, and then you push the button for the device, and immediately you give him that reward, right? And so you gradually work up to the fact, and I've seen so many kids that the device helps them to become verbal. That's our goal. And so anything out of his mouth, you know, he starts to say the word hungry, or he tries to say the word, reward him immediately. And Sarah, you wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick, okay.
Patrick's excited to talk this morning.
That's good, that's good.
But I will turn, hold on one second, to see what's being rude.
I wanted to say that, you know, Caleb is becoming more verbal.
Hurry up.
We get a lot of hurry up, I'm hungry, let's go,
Food.
food.
That's
Last
so
night we went to a
good.
little fair down the street, and we went past his favorite little pizza place, and he was jumping up and down on my lap going, peas, like trying to say pizza. He's going,
Yeah.
peas, so we got him a pizza. I've never seen a kid jump up and clap for a pizza.
Oh, that pizza was so good.
Hold on a minute.
See, you
I'll
guys
let
are
Patrick talk to you.
you guys are seeing that the program works. That's exciting news. For Caleb to become more verbal, I mean, that's what we're after. That's what it's all about. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to hear that. You guys, thank you for sharing that. I mean, the results, they're gradual.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a while,
Mhm.
but that's so good.
Come on, you.
And Patrick wanted to ask a question.
And I don't know why
Yeah,
you guys, your sound, there's so much, I don't know what it is, if it's the internet on your end or what it is, but okay, go ahead.
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
Hello?
pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. A buddy of mine, his son he told me you have to give your son he told me he's a little hog, like little roughness. You have to let him basically tell you he wants food, because his son's autism. He grew up. His son's like 23 now, and he told me he's Patrick. You can't read the kid's mind. You have to let him tell you when he needs food, when he wants to go to the bathroom. You can't boom, right there to have stuff lined up for him. You don't have to ask for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of true?
You're asking,
Give him a little hard. What I'm asking is a little hard knock life. Let him say, hey, daddy, mommy, I need fluids. I want something to eat. Instead of sitting there, you don't even have to say nothing. You're having the food there. His sippy cup is already. You don't even have to grab nothing. You can sit on the couch and be lazy, basically. He told me don't let him be like that.
Right. You do not, it's kind of what I said a minute ago. What used to work, where a child would just point or, drag you or whatever, don't allow that to be effective in them getting what they want. In other words,
he don't.
Pardon me?
He don't drag us anymore. He'll go
Well, yeah, that's just an example. I'm just using it as an example. What you're saying is correct. You want to require of them to communicate at whatever level they can, right? You just take
Yeah.
you take it up a notch. If they are
Yes.
able, like she said, if a child can just say hung or hungry, or they can't say the word hungry accurately, but they are trying to say it, reward it immediately. And then later, as they're able to say the word, required that they say it. Or the AAC device, like I said, that's part of how a child becomes more verbal, is by using that device. But you're right, Patrick, you don't just let them be lazy about it and get whatever it is they're wanting because they had a meltdown or pitched a fit or just pointed, or but have them communicate with you what it is they're needing, and it's a gradual process.
I still make a joke when he says hurry up to his mom, like hurry up now. I go up and give him high fives, because and when he says hungry, and I say, okay, food time. Then he says, hurry up, hurry up. I make a joke with him. I give him high fives. I said, good boy, you talk.
Right,
I said, that's
right.
my boy.
And you know what? That's beautiful. Some parents would be offended at their child saying, hurry up. Wait, who are you bossing around? No. I mean, some parents would instinctively think that way, right? But you're rewarding
No,
them,
more words to come out of his.
It can be
More words
fun.
come out of his mouth.
It can be funny, it can be funny, and joking around with him, it's wonderful. I mean, that's a very good thing. It's a positive, good thing. So I want to say for everybody on, and if you could mute yourself, Sarah, I don't know what that noise is. It's I apologize that I'm having to ask you to mute. It's a background noise on your end. I'm not sure if it's the internet connection or what it is, but anyway. Okay, now we can now what is it? Overstimulation, as we've talked about this morning. Anyway, so as I said before, the master class is coming out. Whoever's already in the program, you won't have to pay for that. You're already in the system, and there'll be videos explaining, walking you through everything. I'm so excited about it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, September 1st is when that will come out and be ready, be available. Tell your friends. I mean, if they want to get into the program before that happens, I'm still deciding on the price, but anyway, just let them know if they get into the program before, that'll be wonderful, because they pay for their Juice Plus, and that's that. So you guys are the privileged first at the head of the line type moms and dads. Okay, now I will post this video sometime later today. It'll be on YouTube on my channel, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I'm so excited for the journey that we're on and the progress that's being made. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.